Hi, my name is Judge. I'm an arena man, and I'm here to talk to you about the latest set of buffs and nerfs to 9 different Hearthstone cards, and more importantly, talk to you about how those changes are going to affect the Hearthstone arena. 3 of the cards out of the 9 are heroes and quests, and generally won't affect arena, but I'll go over those 3 cards real quick here to start. So Wildheart Guff is now something that a lot of people have said was likely to come. Instead of granting full mana crystals and being able to use them immediately, is now going to grant empty mana crystals, which is a pretty big nerf. That's a lot of usable mana turn to turn that you're not going to be able to use, but I won't get too into it. There's other constructed players who will go into this definitely a lot more than I will. Not draftable in Arena. You can get it from Swashbuckler, so maybe it'll affect you, but usually you're not going to see this card. Definitely a good nerf. This card was really extremely strong. Same thing with Magister Dawngrasp. The Honorable Kill is going from +2 to +1 damage. So a similar idea with the card for Arena. These changes are not super big because 1, these cards aren't in, and 2, the cards are still so strong for Arena that it's not really going to make much of a difference. But that's a pretty big deal, having the increase of your hero power. This card has been a big problem in Standard, one that the community has been calling for as well. So awesome, Magister Dawngrasp gets nerfed. And then a card that I've never really been a huge fan of, although I kind of guiltily like to play it sometimes. I have a complicated relationship with it. Defend the Dwarven District simply goes from dealing 2 damage on the first set of the quest to dealing 3, so just 1 more spell, make it a little more difficult to complete. That one you can't possibly play in Arena, so that's completely irrelevant. Now on to the good stuff. We've got Edwin, Defiance Kingpin, going from a 3 mana 3/3 to a 4 mana 4/4. I feel it was just a couple weeks ago where I had a video talking about this going from a 4 mana 4/4 to a 3/3, so this just is a revert back to a 4 mana 4/4. And if you watched my old video, you'll notice I said, I don't really get why this is going from 4 mana to 3 mana. It was already completely fine in every mode, like it was already a good card. But yeah, so it's reverted right back, which I think a lot of people called, but that's okay. I mean, something we've seen about the Arena, or rather the Hearthstone team in the last little while, is they're willing to make quick changes, more so than they used to be years ago. So they tried a thing, they were like, hey, Rogue isn't doing super great right now, let's try this. You know, a lot of people predicted correctly that it wasn't really going to be a great change, but then again, a lot of people also predicted Glide would be overpowered. So, you know, they tried a thing, it didn't work, they reverted it, cool. You know, this card for Arena's sake goes from being great to amazing, back to being great, cool. Next, we have a card that is getting buffed, not nerfed, also being reverted, and that is Alliance Bannerman, which goes from being a 2 attack, 1 health minion to a 2/2, so back to its former glory. This one I think is a pretty relevant change for Arena. The card was insane, a complete auto pick as a 2/2, and the 2/1 did actually hit it pretty well. It was still an amazing card, but just being able to ping it away, you're playing a Demon Hunter who can just hero power it away and it's not a tempo threat anymore. The 1 health was a big deal, and putting it back to 2 puts it back into that insane realm again now. Even since Alliance Bannerman was printed, we've seen some crazy cards come out, even just in the latest expansion. So I don't think it's going to be really out of place back at a 2/2. The overall power level it has compared to the meta won't even be as high as when it was printed, but it'll still be back to being insane. That 1 health just not being able to be pinged away is a big deal. You want a big effect to have some good stats alongside it, and often the Bannerman stats were kind of negated by it just being pinged away by something very simply. So I think there's a big buff, just like it was a big nerf when it happened, back to the busted level status for Bannerman instead of just great. So cool, another revert, awesome. Next we have Schoolteacher, which is not being quite reverted, thank goodness, in my opinion, but is being buffed. So it went from being a 4 mana 5/4, then it was a 4 mana 4/3, and now they've settled on a 4 mana 4/4, increasing its power. So clearly they want this card. It's a very fun card, and they want this card to be viable, which is fair because it's super enjoyable to play. So they increase the health, and maybe that'll make it see a little more play in Standard after its original nerf. For Arena, this card has always been busted. It was busted as a 5/4, it was busted as a 4/3, and it will still be busted as a 4/4. For me, this change is pretty whatever because it goes from being an understated minion for 4 mana still to being understated, and that's the most important thing to me. As long as it's not a 5/4 or a 4/5, there's no way this effect should have premium stats, then cool. As long as it's a bit understated. Give it 1 health. Yeah, obviously it's going to make an already busted card even stronger, but it's a fun one, and it doesn't stay with premium stats for the cost. So, cool, good for constructed players. I really do like this card, but I don't think this is going to increase the amount of times people draft this card when Sunken Sea is in, because it's nearly an auto pick already. Now on to some cards that have a little bit more of an impact than just some slight reverts on Arena. We've got Smothering Starfish going from 3 to 4 mana. Smothering Starfish is a very, very interesting card. We didn't really see Silence Tech for a long, long time before it was printed. And obviously it's got, the mass AoE coming in is really potentially good to get around a board of taunts. And, Arena, it's a little less consistent. You don't really need to be adding this tech all the time in Arena. But it was solid, right? A 3 mana 2/4, it didn't come with the worst stat line, so it wasn't always such a liability. A strong silence option. Can unfreeze your own stuff, which was always really cool, right? Something that you can't do with mass AoE with like Owl or Spellbreaker. Now it's 4 mana, which is devastating to the card. I think this card goes from being like, I'll pick up a Starfish, sure. It's not that big of a detriment, and I get a little bit of tech, to I can't risk having this 4 mana 2/4 in my hand for no reason. It's kind of like if Eater of Secrets were 3 mana. It'd be like, yeah, okay, interesting. Like, it's not super great, but I could put it in there and it was not the biggest liability. And then at 4 mana, it's like, oh, this is garbage. And I think that's kind of where Smothering Starfish goes. It goes from being like a Spellbreaker to an Owl, which, yeah, Owls can be okay sometimes, but it's just a lot of mana to spend for pretty much just a silence. So devastating nerf for Starfish in Arena. Next we have a Legendario. Kalefast is nerfed from 6 mana to 8 mana. Now Kalefast is an extremely strong legendary. In Arena, it's really, really good. A lot of people getting that turn 7 Kalefast 1-drop into Stoneborn General or into Proto Drake. And that's huge, right? That's a huge turn 6 or 7, depending on whether you have the coin or not. I think this change makes a lot of sense because the original Kalefast was also 6 mana, but when you played it, you still had to play 3 more cards because they were spells. Kalefast, since it counts itself as a minion played, kind of like seemed like it was cheating 1 card. And so there were a couple options with this. Probably keeping it at 6 mana and just making it an extra minion to be played, it might have made sense. But maybe takes away kind of from the theme of what Kalefast does. So they make it 2 more mana. Another big reason to make it 2 more mana instead of that combo as well is a constructed issue where people are playing Kalefast and then Bran and then Sire Nathria to just explode games out of control. Not really a thing in Arena, but that's a reason why this goes to 8 mana. I think this change is good for all modes. This card is going to not be super great in Arena anymore with a 2 mana deficit now, but you can still cheat out some pretty good mana if you make it to the late game, depending on how you're constructing your deck. Don't think it's absurd to cost 8 mana, but it will hurt the card quite a bit. And lastly, our last change, and I saved this one for last quite on purpose because it is just lovely. Nightclub Sanctum is nerfed. You heard me. Oh god, it's so nice. It's so nice. Nightclub Sanctum is nerfed from 3 durability to 2. This is a change that, myself, I've called for, and many other Arena players have called for, and it was crazy enough in Constructed that a lot of people in Constructed were calling for it, and this is great because the card was simply comically overpowered at 3 durability. Just insane. I already thought this card was going to be great when I saw it. I never expected it to be this powerful, but it turns out just piling all these stats, all these freezes, all this stuff bundled into one card was just too much. Goes down to 2 durability. I still think this card is going to be very strong. I don't think it's going to be stronger than Sire Denathrius and Ysera like it is currently, but I think it'll still be a very strong 3, but I won't lose my mind every time I see it on Curve, which is fantastic. And just last week we had our we had our card of the day video which I guess was limited time only, as Nightcloak already goes down to 2 durability. This is the greatest change out of this list for Arena. Really nice. Meta's being dominated by this location, so really a big fan of 2 durability Nightcloak Sanctum. So we got a whole range of different kinds of changes, some of them pretty irrelevant for Arena, some of them, okay, interesting, to this is going to alter the meta, so a nice array of changes. A lot of them look really good for Constructed too. So looking forward to seeing how these shake out in the next little while, especially in regards to Nightcloak Sanctum. If you disagree with anything I've said, try to maybe learn. No, I'm just kidding. Let me know in the comments below. Would love to hear your opinions on these changes. Would love to hear what you have to say about Nightcloak Sanctum, maybe about some cards that could have been changed but weren't. Would love to hear your opinion. Don't forget also to hit that thumbs up button and that subscribe button. It helps me out a great deal. Appreciate you watching. Looking forward to this week in Arena, and we'll see you in the next video.